Today, we have an incredible story with Clara Santos, who went through a near-death experience and discovered profound spiritual truths. She's here to share every detail with you. Before we start, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming powerful stories. Now, let's get into the story. It was supposed to be an ordinary drive home. The rain had started as a gentle drizzle but quickly intensified, transforming into a torrent that made it almost impossible to see. I gripped the wheel tightly, my heart pounding with each flash of lightning that split the sky above me. My headlights barely pierced through the wall of water cascading down. I remember feeling a strange sense of foreboding, something I couldn't quite shake, as if some unseen force was whispering a warning just beyond my ability to hear it. I ignored the urge to pull over. I was close to home, after all, and convinced myself I could make it. Then, it happened. Out of nowhere, my car skidded. I felt the tires lose their grip, the helpless weightlessness as the vehicle spun wildly out of control. My chest tightened as I struggled to regain control, but it was too late. The last thing I remember before the impact was the sickening sound of crunching metal and shattered glass. Then, silence. As the world faded away, I was plunged into an overwhelming darkness, a quiet so profound it almost seemed to hum with its own frequency. Yet, even in that silence, I felt my consciousness clinging on, sensing that this was not the end, but perhaps only the beginning. In the suffocating darkness, a strange sensation took over, a feeling of floating, of being unbound by gravity or flesh. I found myself hovering above the wreckage, watching with a sense of detached curiosity as paramedics scrambled around my crushed car. I could see my own body, twisted and still, slumped against the steering wheel. There was blood on my face, and my eyes were closed, but I didn't feel any pain. Instead, a profound calm washed over me, as if I were merely observing a scene in a film, somehow removed from the physical world. I remember thinking, is that really me? The realization settled slowly, as if my mind needed time to comprehend the surreal scene below. And then, I felt a surge of love and concern, not for myself, but for those trying so desperately to bring me back. I could sense their determination, their focus, almost as if I were tapping into their thoughts. I heard one of the paramedics mutter, "She's barely hanging on," and another call out for more help. Their urgency tugged at me, but I couldn't communicate, couldn't move closer. I was just there, hovering, watching, feeling every emotion in the room as though it were my own. In that suspended state, I started to wonder if this was death, or if I was stuck in some in-between place, neither here nor gone. The questions began to swirl. Am I dying? Will I ever return? And yet, in that same instant, a warmth filled me, a sense that this journey wasn't over. Something greater, more profound was waiting just beyond. And then, like an invisible hand pulling me upward, I felt myself begin to rise. As I rose, drifting away from the wreckage, the world below grew distant, its sounds fading like echoes in a vast cavern. An indescribable light enveloped me, not blinding, but a warm, gentle glow that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. I felt weightless, as if the very concept of a body was dissolving, replaced by a profound sense of clarity and boundless freedom. There was no pain, no fear, just an overwhelming sense of peace that I had never felt before, a peace that transcended anything I had ever known in my life. As I ascended through what felt like layers of reality, images from my life began to play around me, like scenes projected onto a vast canvas. Moments of joy, regret, love, and loss all appeared, each one vivid and poignant. I saw myself as a child, laughing and playing. I saw the students I had taught, each face distinct and filled with potential. A flood of memories surged forward. My parents, my friends, even strangers who had crossed my path, all woven together in a tapestry that somehow felt both eternal and fleeting. Then, the layers began to thin, and the world I knew slowly faded away, giving way to a deeper, more profound reality. I felt as though I was moving through realms of existence I could barely comprehend, yet each one seemed to carry a truth, a meaning that resonated within me. It was as if I was moving beyond the physical, beyond the tangible, into a realm where knowledge and wisdom were embedded into the very fabric of space. And in that space, I sensed something or someone waiting for me, radiating a presence so compassionate, so knowing, that I felt drawn to it like a moth to a flame. As I ascended further, the light seemed to shift, intensifying into a glow that felt alive, pulsing with a warmth that reached deep into my being. Then, I saw him. He stood there, enveloped in a soft, golden aura, his presence filling the space around him with a profound sense of love and compassion. He looked human, but there was something otherworldly about him, an essence that radiated wisdom far beyond anything I'd encountered. His eyes met mine, and in that gaze, I felt he could see everything, every memory, every hidden part of me. "Welcome, Clara," he said, his voice rich and comforting, like a melody I'd known all my life but had forgotten until now. I felt an immediate connection to him, as if he had always been there, waiting for this moment. "I am Emmanuel," he continued, "and I am here to guide you through what you must now understand." I wanted to ask 1,000 questions, but words felt unnecessary. It was as if my very thoughts were communicating directly with him. "Am I dead?" I thought, the question forming in my mind. Emmanuel smiled gently, a hint of sadness in his eyes. "You are not yet finished in the world you come from, Clara, but there is a reason you are here, a purpose that must be fulfilled." His words filled me with a sense of urgency, yet I couldn't shake the feeling of absolute peace that surrounded him. I felt exposed, yet protected, vulnerable, yet stronger than I had ever felt before. Emmanuel's presence seemed to hold a truth so profound that it was both humbling and exhilarating. In his gaze, I sensed he was about to reveal something that would change everything I had ever believed. And though I didn't know what was coming, I was ready to listen. Emmanuel's gaze held me, grounding me in that strange, timeless space. "You've been chosen to see what others cannot," he said, his tone both gentle and unwavering. "There are forces at play in your world. Symbols, signs, patterns. Things that seem ordinary, even comforting, but their true nature remains hidden from most." A shiver ran through me as I processed his words. I had never thought much about symbols or hidden messages. They were simply part of life, woven into the background. But there was something in Emmanuel's voice that made every nerve in my being come alive with attention. "What do you mean by hidden?" I asked, feeling a strange mixture of dread and curiosity. Emmanuel nodded, as though he understood my apprehension. "Certain symbols," he began, "have been imbued with energies, with intentions that go unnoticed by the surface mind. They act as traps, guiding individuals away from their true purpose, clouding their spirits and sowing confusion." His voice softened, as if he felt the weight of what he was saying. "You've been given the ability to see these symbols for what they are, invisible traps, so that you may reveal their true nature." I could hardly breathe as he continued. "Your journey has brought you here, Clara, so you can carry this knowledge back to the world. People need to be warned, shown the truth about what lies beneath these seemingly harmless symbols." He placed his hand on my shoulder, a comforting warmth spreading through me. "This is not a mission of fear, but of awareness. To awaken others is your calling." In that moment, I felt a surge of purpose like never before. The clarity of Emmanuel's words cut through any remaining doubt. I understood that this was a responsibility I couldn't ignore, something I'd have to carry back with me if I ever returned. Emmanuel's eyes softened as he spoke of the first symbol. "The world knows it as a sign of peace," he said, his voice laced with an almost imperceptible sadness. In my mind, the image of the symbol flashed, a simple, rounded shape with a line descending through it, the well-known peace sign. "People believe it brings calm, unity, and harmony," he continued. But there is another side, a vibration hidden within it that disrupts rather than connects. I felt a pang of confusion. How could something so universally accepted, something so celebrated, hold a darker purpose? Emmanuel seemed to sense my doubt, his gaze unwavering as he explained further. "It's like a melody slightly out of tune," he said. "It resonates in a way that creates a spiritual dissonance, a subtle interference that most cannot perceive but can feel deep down. Over time, it pulls people away from their inner peace, creating an invisible barrier between their spirits and the divine." The realization struck me like a cold wave. I thought back to all the places I'd seen this symbol, painted on walls, worn on jewelry, celebrated in songs and marches. Emmanuel's words were stirring something within me, a sense of betrayal that such a widely beloved sign could carry hidden harm. Why would this be allowed? I asked, my voice trembling. Emmanuel's response was calm but unwavering. Symbols can carry the intentions of those who created them. Sometimes, what appears as light can carry a shadow, intentionally placed to deceive. People adopt these signs out of love and hope, but they unknowingly invite energies that work against them. A wave of resolve surged through me, mingled with sorrow. It wasn't enough to see this truth. I would have to share it, to help others see beyond the surface of what they had always accepted. The realization weighed heavy, yet I felt Emmanuel's strength beside me, as if to say I would not carry this mission alone. Emmanuel's expression grew somber as he guided me toward the next revelation. "Now, I will show you a symbol that's even older, revered across centuries. A symbol people believe represents eternal life." I immediately pictured the image, a looping, familiar shape, often seen in ancient carvings, engravings, and sacred texts. "The Ankh," he said, and as he uttered the name, the symbol materialized in the space between us, glowing softly. It's seen as a sign of life, continuity, immortality. Emmanuel's voice lowered, carrying a gravity that made my heart race. But it, too, has been altered. Over time, energies were imbued into it, creating a subtle deception. He paused, allowing his words to settle in the silence. I stared at the symbol, entranced by its beauty, yet now wary of the hidden purpose Emmanuel spoke of. "What does it do?" I asked, feeling a mixture of curiosity and unease. Emmanuel explained, "The Ankh was once a symbol of connection, a bridge between the mortal and the divine. But its energy has been redirected, twisted. Now, it serves as a transmitter of confusion, creating illusions around the true nature of life and death. Those who resonate with it are led to believe that immortality can be found in the material world, that life is only an endless cycle of physical existence." The weight of his words settled into my soul, deepening my understanding. "It distracts people from looking beyond this life," I murmured, the truth dawning on me. "Yes," Emmanuel confirmed, his gaze intense. "People cling to this symbol, hoping it holds the key to eternal life. But it blinds them to the true spiritual journey, creating a loop of attachment to the material. They lose sight of the path toward deeper understanding, toward liberation." A wave of sadness washed over me, mingled with a newfound clarity. I could see the faces of countless people I had known, searching for meaning, for eternity in all the wrong places. Emmanuel's presence reminded me that my task was not to condemn but to awaken, to bring this truth back with me, to guide others past these illusions towards something real, something pure. Emmanuel's face grew even more serious as he prepared to reveal the next piece of knowledge. "There is a realm within symbols that remains almost entirely hidden, a world of spiritual marks and codes," he began. "These are not symbols you see openly. They are concealed within designs, patterns, and structures that many encounter every day, yet never truly see." I listened, feeling a strange sense of dread mixed with fascination. "These marks, are they dangerous?" I asked, a chill creeping down my spine. "They are conduits," Emmanuel replied. "Each one is like a key, a doorway that permits the influence of unseen forces into the physical world. When someone is exposed to these symbols repeatedly, they form connections, allowing forces beyond your reality to subtly influence thoughts, actions, and even beliefs. They are crafted with precision, each line and curve imbued with intent. He showed me an image in my mind's eye, geometric shapes interwoven, almost hypnotic in their design. They are often found in the most unassuming places, he continued. Logos, architecture, even artwork. Some appear beautiful, while others seem abstract or meaningless. But their true purpose is to act as sigils, marks that carry spiritual codes. I felt a deep unease as I realized how prevalent these hidden codes might be. How are they used? I asked, feeling both repelled and compelled to understand more. These symbols serve as anchors for energies that are neither benign nor beneficial, Emmanuel explained. They act as hooks, creating a sense of loyalty, obsession, or even confusion. People unknowingly attach themselves to these forces, their minds clouded, their spirits weakened. What seems harmless is, in fact, influencing them in ways they cannot see. A sense of urgency filled me. How many people had unwittingly allowed these energies into their lives, unaware of the impact? But how can I help them see? I asked, my voice shaking. You must illuminate what is hidden, Emmanuel replied, his tone firm yet compassionate. The power of awareness is greater than any mark or code. People must learn to look beyond the surface, to question, to seek truth in what they accept so easily. His words echoed within me, a call to action that felt both heavy and essential. I realized then that this mission would demand all of my courage and conviction, but the lives it might change made it a burden worth bearing. As we drifted deeper into this otherworldly realm, Emmanuel paused, his expression growing softer, tinged with both sorrow and hope. Now, Clara, he began, there is one more symbol you must understand. A symbol that many believe represents unity, wholeness, the endless cycle of life. In the space before us, a perfect circle appeared, hovering like a halo. It was so simple, yet somehow captivating, pulling me into its silent promise of eternity. I could feel the pull, a mesmerizing allure that whispered of completion, of an endless, comforting cycle. But as I looked closer, I sensed something hidden beneath its tranquil appearance, something unsettling that simmered just beneath the surface. Emmanuel's voice broke the silence. This circle, the symbol of eternity, binds many to cycles of illusion. It convinces them that life is a loop, an endless return to the same place, the same choices, the same beliefs. They become trapped, unable to see beyond its curve, mistaking repetition for growth and habit for understanding. The weight of his words pressed into me, each sentence unlocking a deeper truth. So, people are stuck? I asked, my voice barely a whisper, feeling the gravity of his revelation. Indeed, Emmanuel nodded, his gaze steady. They believe that enlightenment lies within this loop, that if they simply endure, they will reach a higher state. But true enlightenment requires breaking free from these cycles, transcending the illusions of repetition. The circle is alluring, promising comfort in familiarity, but it prevents the soul from moving forward, from discovering the truths that lie beyond. I thought of my own life, the habits I had mistaken for progress, the beliefs I'd clung to out of familiarity rather than conviction. How many others were living in this cycle, unaware they were following a path that led nowhere? How do I help people break free? I asked, my heart pounding with both fear and determination. You must teach them to look beyond the familiar, Emmanuel answered, his voice filled with calm assurance. Encourage them to question what they've always known, to seek paths that may feel uncertain or challenging. The journey beyond the circle is not easy, but it is where true freedom lies. A deep sense of purpose filled me. I could feel the weight of this responsibility, yet there was also a glimmer of hope, knowing that perhaps, through this mission, I could help others see beyond their own illusions. Emmanuel's presence steadied me, as if to reassure me that I would have the strength to carry this message back, to guide others out of the cycle and into a reality where they could finally see beyond the curve. With each revelation, I felt my spirit growing heavier, burdened by the profound truths Emmanuel had shared. Yet, alongside the weight, a powerful resolve emerged, a deep sense of purpose that filled every corner of my being. I knew that if I was given the chance to return, I could not unsee or ignore these truths. My life, if it continued, would be forever altered. Emmanuel looked at me one last time, his gaze filled with an unspoken understanding. "Clara," he began softly, "the path you walk from here will not be easy. Many may resist these truths. They may dismiss your words or see you as misguided. But remember, your mission is not to convince. It is to awaken, to share the light you have been shown and let it find those who are ready to see." I nodded, feeling both the weight and the beauty of his words. "I will do my best," I whispered, my voice trembling. Emmanuel's warmth enveloped me once more, a gentle reassurance that somehow I was ready, even if it felt overwhelming in this moment. Then, just as suddenly as it had begun, the world around me began to shift. Emmanuel's figure grew faint, his light merging with the boundless glow around us. I felt a pull, a force guiding me back, drawing me down through layers of existence, through dimensions I could no longer perceive clearly. The warmth faded, replaced by the cold, sterile air of the physical world. I heard muffled sounds, voices, beeping machines, and realized I was returning to my body. Pain surged through me as consciousness reconnected with flesh, but beneath the discomfort was a strength, a profound clarity that overpowered any physical sensation. My eyes fluttered open, meeting the startled gaze of a nurse, her expression shifting from surprise to relief. "Clara, you're awake?" she whispered, a gentle smile breaking through her tired features. As I lay there, surrounded by machines and the scent of antiseptics, the memory of Emmanuel's words filled me, each one resonating deeply within. I knew that this experience was more than a vision. It was a calling, a purpose that I would carry forward. My mission was clear: to awaken those around me to the unseen forces, the hidden symbols, the cycles that bound them, and help them break free. Though the journey ahead felt uncertain, I sensed Emmanuel's presence, as if a part of him had returned with me, guiding my steps as I prepared to walk this path. The world looked different now, layered with hidden meanings I could no longer ignore. And as I took my first breaths back in this life, I knew that I was ready to fulfill the mission, to illuminate the invisible traps and share the truths I had seen beyond the veil. Leave a like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and watch this next story. It's incredibly moving.